Wonder Woman 2017 was not only a very nice, condensed, put together story with also some great characters, it also had a very thrilling story and some very thrilling action scenes. It was really clear that Patty Jenkins really understood the depth of this character, and it did have some nice emotional beats. With great pacing and some great progress of the overall story, I unfortunately cannot say the same for Wonder Woman 1984 or Wonder Woman 84. Watching this movie at first was very depressing because I saw this at home. I've been wanting to watch this in the theater. The nearest theater near my home was 30 miles away and it was in a drive-in, and I don't really like drive-ins. I do not wish to rely on my car's speaker. I want that nice Dolby all around you audio. Minus that, I watched this 2.5 hour long movie and I have to say I am torn down the middle. Where to even start? I'm just gonna say I like a good half of the things and I did not like a good half of the other things. Let's go with the pros because there's a nice little balance of pros and cons in this movie. So again, let's start with the pros. Gal Gadot, Gal Gotti, Gal Gadot. Gadot. She's really great in this film. This is like her 4th time playing Wonder Woman, about to be 5th time because of the Snyder Cut. And she does really well. She has really grown and evolved into this character. Whenever it comes to emotional scenes, she really knocks it out of the park. If she wants to be nice, she can be nice. If she wants to be serious, she can be serious. Gal Gadot has really nailed every single emotion about Wonder Woman. Kristen Wiig, I surprisingly was surprised by her performance, even though as we go into the cons, minus the cons of her character, I think Kristen Wiig was good for the most part, and I do think she did all right for the material she was given. I have to say the same thing about Chris Pine. He did a lot of good things as well with the material he was given, and he did provide some comedy relief. I did like the little romantic banter between Chris Pine and Gal Gadot, or Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman. It's very cutesy, even though their relationship only lasted like 2 weeks in the first Wonder Woman, or maybe even a week. Pedro Pascal is the best character in the whole movie, and minus some parts, he does have some nice emotional motivation. Not only is he a desperate man trying to be greater, but he does come from a very broken background, and he also has a son. I finally, yeah, Marvel has done that with Vulture and his daughter, but it's really good now that we have villains who can be normal people, and yeah, villains can end up having families as well. He's overall not a very bad guy. He just wants to do the best for him and his son, and he unfortunately lets his bad, toxic background get the best of him. I do appreciate how the majority of this movie is trying to be more character driven and character focused. It takes us an hour to go from one action scene to the next action scene, and even though the character depth isn't that strong, the emotional pull isn't that strong, I thought the film was very entertaining. Maybe the pacing is just really fast. The first time I paused the movie, I was an hour in, and I did not realize I was an hour in already in this movie. The action scenes are pretty good. The green screen is noticeable, but there was this cool moment when the woman's just running in a highway with the Wonder Woman theme song playing. It's very cheap, but I thought it was looking pretty cool. And there's obviously that cool shot you see in the trailer when she's like sprinting in the street. I love those. I love it when superheroes just move like fast. And yeah, the opening scene, this Olympic trial when Wonder Woman was younger, some of the shots is really great. In fact, a lot of the cinematography is really great, mainly for the action scenes. And the last pro I gotta give is when the film slows down to develop its character in a much more thrilling way. Again, Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman's chemistry when it comes to more emotional heartstrings, I really felt them, and I felt like the film needed more of those. And now for the cons. Now for the cons, I have to dive deep into spoilers. There's no way I can review this movie without really showing or really trying to hide anything. So the title of this video is going to be a spoiler review. I usually don't like doing that, but man, this movie. They find this magic stone that's able to create spells, and they never really dive deep into the lore of it. We're just supposed to expect that, hey, it works. And the fact that the stone's really weak, I thought there would be a catch of how they're gonna end these spells, but it's just someone saying, yeah, I revoke my wish. I do not wish this. I do not wish. I do not wish. I totally regret it. I do not want it anymore. I thought the stakes could have been raised up a little bit higher if the wishes were a little bit more on a permanent scale. But no, in the movie, when someone wishes for more nuclear warheads, they just developed out of thin air, and then if you revoke that wish, they just disappear. Even though everyone's memory did not get suppressed, everyone's gonna remember this moment. Also, the lore of the wishes doesn't make any sense considering that Barba, Cheetah, Kristen Wiig was able to make 2 wishes while everyone else was only able to make 1. Now, speaking of Barba, Cheetah, Kristen Wiig, that leads to some of the flaws. I do think Kristen Wiig's stereotypical nerd character was very cheesy and very cheap and poor and cliche. She really struck me as like, let's put this for example. Think of Jamie Foxx from Amazing Spider-Man 2. And you know it's bad when I have to compare Amazing Spider-Man 2 to your movie. But I really didn't feel like they gave her that much development or character. Yeah, she had some harsh moments, but like, it's really like she's a nerd. She's this senseless defensive nerd, but we only get like 3 minutes of screen time of that. She gets her wish, and her wish is to be better, to be like Wonder Woman. And even though she's really revealing this power, it lets her get to her head and stopping Wonder Woman. That wish leads to another flaw in Cheetah's character. I feel like if she was never in this movie, or if Cheetah was never made into this movie could have ended like 40 minutes ago. The movie's 2.5 hours long because while Wonder Woman's trying to stop Pedro Pascal's character, Max Lord, Barbara comes in and stops Wonder Woman, and to me, that just stretches out the runtime. Because he's just a normal man. Yes, he has magical powers and he can wish, but he's just a normal man overall. In the movie, Steve Trevor's the one beating him up. After her whole big betrayal, she just disappears for the majority of the movie, and she comes back wishing again to be like Cheetah. I get why she wants to be better, but is it so selfish that she wants to do this even though the world's gonna end? And plus, why she wants to be a cheetah? Like, why? Why not just be like, why not just wish to be the most powerful being of all? Like, why do you have to be a cheetah? I don't want to be like anyone else, so I want to be a cheetah. And that's your wish? But yeah, I was just like, a cheetah? You cannot wish for being the most powerful being in the world or a god? All right, if you want to be a cheetah. Wonder Woman comes in this bronze armor, or this very ancient Themysciran armor, which is strong enough to hold against an entire army, but some cat girl just scratches it and bends it and destroys it. Also, that armor was just brought up for no reason. We did not see her bring this armor from Themyscira. She just, like, oh, that thing? Yeah, that belonged to an ancient Amazonian warrior. Geez, thanks. Coincidence? There's a lot of coincidence in this movie. It's insane. Wonder Woman, back to the Wonder Woman fight. Wonder Woman and Cheetah basically just fight, and Wonder Woman kind of murders her. She straight up like drowns her in the water and let the electricity just vaporize her. Even though she didn't get murdered, she's still alive. But like, man, Wonder Woman, that was kind of brutal. Steve Trevor coming back is a mixed bag for me. Again, I love the emotional weight that the film brings between the two, but the way Steve Trevor comes back, it's a bit questionable. He hops inside another dude's body, and they just take his life. This guy is gone for a week. This guy is gone from his life from a week, and Wonder Woman's just sleeping with him, eating his food, and they're taking all his space. Like, I would have been fine if Steve Trevor just comes back as him. It's like, and then if Wonder Woman revokes her wish about him, he could have just, I don't know, fade away in the dust, some stupid, romantic, slow Hollywood way. They just wrap him up very poorly. It just goes to a debate because the lore of this spell, this magic stone, you wish for something, but it takes away something most pure to you. Steve Trevor coming back is slowly taking away Wonder Woman's powers. They argued about this for like a minute, and then after Wonder Woman loses the cheetah for the first time in Kristen Wiig form, Steve just says like, look girl, you need to let go. We had a great time in World War I for a week, but you gotta let it go. It's been 70 years since I exploded in that plane. Let it go. And then Steve Trevor just, I don't know, he's gone. Wonder Woman just, I revoke my wish, and Steve Trevor's gone. Like, I don't know, I feel like he could have gone out in a better way for the second time. Gal Gadot is also really great, but man, they had a hard, like, I don't feel like there was enough story given to Wonder Woman. Of course, there's the action scenes, and of course the Steve Trevor part, but where does Wonder Woman grow as a character? Again, that opening scene with the Olympic stuff, that's great, but like, What was the point of it? I'm guessing is to set up the theme. Like after watching that opening scene and going through it, it was just there to set up the theme. And in my view, I think the theme of this movie is greatness isn't everything, and you cannot cheat to get what you want. Even though I don't have a problem with that. If you find an easier way to get what you want, go at it. The movie does beat you in the face with its theme about greatness isn't everything. Whatever you want, there's always a catch to it. It's I don't know. I had a hard time watching a more simpler movie this way. I've been watching a lot of indie movies and dramas, and their themes is very fleshed out as it bleeds throughout the entire film. Wonder Woman is a more simplistic storytelling, so if they're trying to get deep, they just yeah, take that right hook in the face with my theme, with my deep message. And yeah, I have to say the first 30 minutes was rough. Like the Olympic scene was kind of pointless. I don't know why. Then we had this mall scene, and it felt just so cheesy. I felt like they could have been better. Wonder Woman, for some reason, takes her little crown and destroys all the cameras, trying to hide her face, even though she wears no mask and looks super identical to Diana Prince. Now, granted, this could be the same thing about Superman, but the way I look at it, when Superman's wearing his glasses, also by being played by the sexiest man alive, when Superman's wearing his glasses, he looks kind of boyish, like a little boyish nerd who happens to be a strong beefcake. And then when he puts on the Kryptonian suit, he's more man. You just see a big change. He looks more manly and more of a beefcake in the suit. And plus, his hair's all slicked back and everything. Like Superman at least tried to look different in a way. Wonder Woman is just costume, my little boomerang here, and call it a day. I thought the editing for that mall fight was really sloppy, and I was really and the only reason why that first 30 minutes was rough is because those first 30 minutes I was like, where is this movie going? It's just such a hard time for me to grab onto these characters. Kristen Wiig, I really tried to work with her, but her development was really weak. So was Wonder Woman's, and Steve Trevor. Well, Steve Trevor's good, but he's just there. He's there really late into the film, and then he leaves. He leaves when it came to the second act. You know, the more I thought about this movie, I asked myself one question. Why did this movie take place in 1984? Like, I don't know why. Why does this movie take place in 1984? If this thing is what happening in modern day, Superman would just wrap up everything. He's like, okay, done. Cheetah, bzz, heat vision, she's done. What? Pedro Pascal? Well, guess what, Wonder Woman? I won't be stopped by little wind, because I'm freaking Superman. Again, there's so many flaws in this movie. Here's the thing. I did mention earlier that Pedro Pascal's character has a lot of depth to him, but the chemistry between him and his son is really weak. They really don't even give the son that much material to work with. He says about like 3 to 4 lines. A big coincidence is that Pedro Pascal's villain he's just grabbing everyone's wish, and then apparently people are just following him because of his power. And when he was trying to run the country from the president, by convenience, by total coincidence, this big display of satellites that can control everything TV-wise was just right here in the office. Like, there was no reveal to that. It was displayed in the office. He was like, what's that? Oh, well, it's a particle of satellites, and you can control everything, broadcast around the world. Seriously? You have a plan that the villain can go at a massive scale right here in your office? And so the fight between Pedro Pascal and Wonder Woman, it's whatever. I think the villain fights are really disappointing. Even in the White House fight, like, I thought that was disappointing. Wonder Woman was weakened. So then when she comes back to fight Cheetah in her full power, it's just, okay, end. Also, I don't know I feel like they're just adding on powers to the lasso of the truth. It kind of reminds me in Star Wars, the sequel trilogy, when they're just adding on new things to the Force. For some reason, Wonder Woman can grab the air with the lasso, and that helps her fly. Why is she flying? In Batman v Superman, she doesn't fly at all. In Justice League, she doesn't fly at all. Why are you making new lore when that lore didn't exist in the future? They fight. Wonder Woman can't get to Pedro Pascal because he just blows wind at her. And Pedro was trying to, grant everyone's wishes. There was a lot of walls, a lot of nuclear warheads going on. And Wonder Woman had the lasso to him so she can speak to the people of the world. But they're all saying this in English. How is everyone understanding him? I'm pretty sure there's billions of people who still don't know English today. But apparently, because the rope is tied to his ankle, she can now talk to everyone in the world? All right. And I don't know why. It seems like they're trying to make Wonder Woman this peaceful being. Now, yeah, she is a more sympathizing hero, but it's like she's just making, I don't know, some positive social commentary in each movie. Wonder Woman is about war and the evil man, and the second movie is just how people can wish and you can't always have the greatness that you want. Plus, they're really trying to sell us that everyone revoked their wish. Come on, there was a person who wished for $1,000,000. You really think they revoked that wish? Man, if I was a person, I would have wished for like $40 billion and call it a day, call it a life. Why would I revoke that wish? Also, there's a guy earlier in the film that like wished for a cup of coffee. Does he revoke that wish? Shoot. What if someone was listening to his broadcast and was like, well, then I wish I had a Coke. And then a Coke pops up. It's like, is he going to revoke that wish? There is no way everyone in that movie is that selfless that they're going to give up their wish. Wonder Woman eventually shows Pedro Pascal's character's error of his ways, and he has a change of heart. He goes to find his son. His son was wandering around the freeway whatsoever while bombs were coming to drop. He flies thousands of miles to go find his son, which will take hours. His son would have been dead already. And he finds him, and his son just conveniently was like, oh, hey, Dad, I was in the woods. And then they run, and they had this beautiful little cliche movie moment. It was whatever, and no consequences happened to him. The ending scene, I don't know why I felt like a reshoot. It looks like something out of a Hallmark movie, and we've seen way too many of those. And then we had a nice little cameo from Linda Carter, the original Wonder Woman. Man, I think this movie is a colossal step down from the first one. If this movie was more character driven and maybe even an hour and 50 minutes, but it was mainly focusing on the emotional turmoil between Wonder Woman and Pedro Pascal, this would have been a great movie. I would have been fine with an hour and 50-minute superhero movie that tells a very compelling story. But no, this movie is 40 minutes longer because Cheetah's got to be in it. It sucks because I don't hate this movie. I did not have a really bad time watching it. I just noticed a lot of the flaws. I'm overall disappointed though because the first Wonder Woman was an excellent movie. Speaking about it now, I actually remember more moments from Wonder Woman than Wonder Woman 1984. The whole progression of the first movie, especially the action scenes, Jesus Christ, when she's fighting that room full of Germans, that was insane. But with the other actions of Wonder Woman 84, I'm gonna be like, yeah, that green screen is pretty bad. And there's a lot of bad green screen. The fact that this happened in 1984 is insane. In this timeline, Batman is older than Superman, so Batman would have for sure remembered this, considering that his parents died 3 years before this event, if you follow the canon of the DCEU. It's just insane. I don't know what happened, and I don't know why the CGI is just so bad and spotty. The Cheetah fight was so dark to watch, I can barely make out Cheetah in her full form. I understand that's a Hollywood technique to hide the bad CGI with nighttime, but man, dude, it was so dark, I couldn't even see Cheetah sometimes. Man, overall, I don't know what happened. I don't know what was the creative direction in this movie. I felt like they took like 2 steps back. I think this is a massive disappointment compared to the first movie. And I'm really scared what's going to happen with the third movie. I really do think the third movie should just take place after Justice League. There's no point of a time period movie. I understand the first Wonder Woman because this is her first time being in a normal world. But in this one, it's just like, oh yeah, well, 1984, because why not? And besides, in the 80s, all they did was focus on the fashion and some of the aesthetics of the 80s, not really on music like every other cliche 80s. Like the 80s was just there for look-wise, not really capture the atmosphere. Also, there's this really dumb scene. They find this Mayan guy who is able to describe all the lore of the gem, and he's never seen again. I thought that scene was really pointless. There's a lot of exposition, and I don't really like it. God, what to give this movie? What is the score? Do I like it? Do I hate it? Is it a mixed bag? I don't know. It is a massive disappointment, but man, I did enjoy most of the film. The first time I watched it, I gave it a 7 out of 10, but now I'm really thinking about giving it a 6 out of 10. Really disappointment considering Wonder Woman. If you want to know my Wonder Woman score, I give that one a 9 out of 10. I think it was great, fantastic. So to go from a 9 to a 6 out of 10, that's a big step down. And I'm really afraid about the third Wonder Woman movie. That means it's like my second least favorite DCEU movie. Who knows, maybe third. I can watch this over Suicide Squad any day. And if you guys want, I'll make a little ranking of the DCEU movies. I won't get into full detail. That video will be forever. I'll just give my brief thoughts about every single one of them. But yeah, Wonder Woman 1984 gets a 6 out of 10. Really disappointed. And man. And I had to see this movie at home. I would have been happier giving it a 6 out of 10 after watching it in theaters. That'll do it for this long review, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe, notification, all that good stuff. Peace out.